everyone. So before we proceed to our next topic, let's discuss first about the globalization. So we need a further understanding about globalization in order for us to fully understand our next topic, which is the global interstate system. So what is globalization? Globalization can be defined as the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of peoples and countries. It is generally understood to include two interrelated elements: the opening of international borders to increasingly fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas, and the changes in institutions and policies at national and international levels that facilitate or promote such flows.
The global interstate system. So what is global interstate system? It is the whole system of human interactions. The main purpose of this is to contribute to peace and security by promoting international collaboration through educational, scientific, and cultural reforms, to increase universal respect for justice, the rule of law, and human rights along with fundamental freedom. Political globalization. Political globalization refers to the growth of the worldwide political system, both in size and complexity, or the amount of political cooperation between the countries. Let's tackle the 4 key attributes of the world politics. There are states that are independent from one another. Second, these states and countries interact each other through diplomacy. Third, there are international organizations like United Nations or UN that facilitate these interactions. Lastly, beyond simply facilitating meetings between states, international organizations also take on lives of their own.
So let's differentiate the nation and state. A nation refers to a group of people who feel bound into a single body by shared culture, values, folkways, religion, and language. A state refers to a portion of land with a sovereign government and laws. States often coincide with nations and are called nation-states. States that overlap multiple nations tend to have civil wars. States that exclude parts of a nation tend to have wars with the neighboring states that contains the rest of the nation.
We have the effects of globalization on government. These 7 positive effects brought about globalization. First is communication. Subscribers and users of the internet are markedly increasing. Second is education. Easy access of ideas and information from best libraries around the globe. Third is media coverage. Awareness of issues on health, gender, environment, and inequality. Fourth is culture. Clear and deeper understanding of the different communities that leads to sympathy and demonstration with one another. Fifth is resources. Growing independence among countries as countries needed natural and human resources and capital. Sixth is investment. Poor countries flow investment to semi-peripheral countries, which pushes up the reserve of foreign exchange. And lastly is the competition. Global and local corporations improve their products and services to compete globally.
So these are the negative effects brought by globalization. First is culture. Challenge to culture and language wipes out and reshapes sense of identity of many individuals, especially the migrants. Second is developing countries. Corporations have tendency to cause damage to the environment. The global pillage instead of global village widens the gap between rich and poor. 3 is religion. Religious values lose their influence on people's behaviors due to the promotion of pure secular values. 4 is morals. People wasting a lot of time on unnecessary purposes due to lack to parental guidance, a lot of criminalities have emerged in the present. 5 is international politics. Countries are individualistic and tries to defend their own national interest globally. 6 is economy. Countries' economies collapse due to the emergence of global corporations that offer cheaper products and services, the emergence of electronic trade and online businesses. 7 is science. The new scientific revolutions in many fields, the genetically modified organism, and cloning emerge.
Internationalism. Nations decide to cooperate with one another in political, economic, and cultural aspects for good promotion of common goods. Globalism. The belief that people, good and information about to be able to across national borders freely. It is the attitude of putting the interests of the entire world above the interests of the entire individual nations.
And now let's proceed to the types of internationalism. First is hegemonic internationalism. Hegemonic internationalism is the belief that the world is being integrated based on unequal terms with the dominance of one nation or nation-state over others. Second is liberal internationalism. Nation-states should give up some of their freedoms and establish a continuously growing global system working together to prevent lawlessness in the world. The third type of internationalism is revolutionary internationalism. Conflicts in the society are due to international factors and alliances. And the last one is socialist internationalism. Working class nations unite to protect themselves against exploits, abuses, and oppression done by the capital class.
What are the 4 dimensions of globalization? There are 4 distinct dimensions of globalism. First, economic, military, environmental, and social. And now I will describe the 4 dimensions. First, economic globalism. It involves long-distance flow of goods, services, and capital in the information and perception that accompany market exchange. An example of economic globalism is a free trade agreement such as the North American Free Trade Agreement and the Trans-Pacific Partnership are examples of economic globalization. Multinational corporations, which operate in 2 or more countries, play a large role in economic globalization. Second, environmental globalism. It refers to the long-distance transport of materials in the atmosphere or ocean or of biological substances such as pathogens or genetic materials that affect human health and well-being. An example of environmental globalization would be the series of International Tropical Timber Agreement Treaties 1983, 1994, and 2006, establishing International Tropical Timber Organization and promoting sustainable management of tropical forests. Third, military globalism. Military globalism, it refers to long-distance networks in which force and the threat or premise of force are deployed. A well-known example of military globalism is the balance of terror between we should not fear that globalism will lead homogenization. Instead, it will expose us to the different that surround us. The fourth and the last dimension is social globalization. It refers to the sharing of ideas and information between and through different countries. In today's world, the internet and social media is at the heart of this. Good example of social globalization could be include international popular films, books, and TV series. However, the impact of 4 dimensions has allowed society to enjoy many benefits, including increased global cooperation, reduced risk of global conflict, and lower prices for goods and commodities. Unfortunately, it also leads us to serious negative effects on the environment.